Om. Second sutra of the Vibhuti Pada is the definition of dharana, the meditation. And the sutra is Tatra Pratyayikatanata Dhyanam. Tatra Pratyayikatanata Dhyanam. Tatra Pratyaya Ekatanata Dhyanam. How beautiful it is. Tatra Pratyaya Ekatanata Dhyanam it is. Tatra means there. Tatra is there. Pratyaya, experience there. The state of the mind, pratyaya, which we have seen in the previous sutras. Pratyaya is a specific technical word used by Maharshi Patanjali to indicate the state of experience at a particular given time. So that is the tatra there, pratyaya, experience. Eka tanata. Eka is one. Tanata means stretching, continuity. Dhyana is dhyanam. So that means the experience there is continuous. That is dhyana. So dhyana is continuity of the experience. And that continuity means unbroken. Unbroken experience there. And that is dhyana. It's very beautiful words are used in this. We have seen that while trying to understand dharana, that from one thought, one object or one idea, the mind goes to the other one and not allowing it to go. And if it goes to the other idea, second idea, and bringing it back to the fixed one. But dhyana is maintaining or continuing on that one single object and the thought. That is dhyana. Means there is no scope, there is no chance of second at all. There is no idea called the other. It is just one. And it is maintaining on that. It's continuously, the mind is flowing into it. That is tatra pratyayikatanata dhyanam it is. Reduction of interruptions and interferences. That is there. They are reduced. And not only reduced, they are almost emptied. No more reductions, no more interruptions, no more interferences. The frequency is reduced. Just for our understanding, only. Say in 5 minutes, in a time of 5 minutes, the mind has wandered away from the fixed object of meditation. Many times. In fact, it is only wandering. But whenever it has wandered and we realized it is wandered and landed on some other thought and we brought it back. This bringing back and interruptions and deviations. That frequency in 5 minutes, the more is dharana, the lesser and the lesser is the dhyana. In the yogic terminology, it is generally used for the total content of the mind, which occupies the field of consciousness. at a particular time. That is pratyaya. Entire content of the mind. The emotional side, the decision side, the intellectual side, the knowledge side, the wisdom side, whatever we say, psychological activity, the mental activity, at a particular given time of experience is the pratyaya. And as a mind is capable of holding a large variety of objects simultaneously, a word has to be used to denote all these objects taken together, irrespective of their nature. And that is pratyaya. So pratyaya is a technical word for this total content of the mind. It is not just an object. It is not just a mental experience. It is everything of the mind. As we saw in the earlier example, pratyaya is something like a flowing river, but within the limits. Suppose you see a small molecule, a cell under a microscope, and you find intense activity in that cell. There is activity, but that activity is bound, confined in a cell, a limited cell. And ekatanata it is. Ekatanata, one-pointedness. And traditionally, the normal example is given is the flow of an oil. When oil is flowing, you find it is no breaks, unbroken flow of an oil. And the mind, the chitta, is unbrokenly aware of one single object, one single idea, one single thought, one single object for the meditation. And that is very, very important. It is uninterrupted experience of one subject, and is extended over a long duration. It is means the capacity to hold fixed mind on a particular object is longer. It is not just fixed and left. It is something like a fly, a house fly, a normal house fly sits on an object and flies out. It's not like that. The fly continues to sit for a longer time. The mind continues to get absorbed in that. And the dhyana is clearly a culmination and a transformation of dharana. It is. In dharana, it just goes and lifts off. But in dhyana, it continues there. And going back to the same example where a cow or an animal tied with a rope to the tree, and the length of the rope is there, we said. But in dhyana, the length is 0. Means the animal, the cow, is tied with the tree. It cannot move. The length of the rope is 0. It will not move. It cannot move. It's not allowed to move. It becomes closer, tied up with the object. So during the transformation of the dharana into dhyana, gradually the extent of desha, that is the sphere of movement of the chitta round about the subject of meditation, goes on becoming lesser and lesser and lesser, and ultimately one-pointedness is reached when the chitta is fixed upon the central core of the subject. The first glimpse of the reality of the blissfulness lying behind the subject is achieved, and that process culminates into dhyana. It's very beautiful it is. We have a number of examples. Traditionally, the example is given of the Arjuna's one-pointedness in the test of archery. when he sees only the eye of a bird. And that is where the slight difference between the dharana and the dhyana. And in dhyana, the vikalpas of words, emotions, ideas, thoughts, they are vanished. And which were hindrance into the state of dhyana, they disappear. Though dhyana, the word meditation is used in English, but it has its own limitation. But dhyana is a word which has more wider. It is the quality of the mind. It is a state of the mind described and expressed by the word dhyana it is. And that is where the important meaning tatra has come. Tatra means there. There means in that state of dharana. When the mind is in that state of dharana, tatra, pratyaya, that experience is one-pointed. Ekatanata, it is elongated, long, and that is the dhyana. Beautifully in Bhagavad Gita, the 19th shloka of the 6th chapter gives a wonderful example. A symbol is given symbolically. The shloka goes very wonderfully. Yatha deepo nivatastho ningate sopama smritaha yogino yata chittasya yunjato yogamatmanaha. Yadha deepo nivatastho. Yadha deepo, like the deepa, the flickering is not there. Unflickering lamp, unflickering deepa. Nivataha, without air. Vata is air, movement of the air. Staha, when there is no movement of the air, how the lamp is staha, stable, a stabilized lamp without the movement of the air. The yogino yata chittasya, the mind of the yogi, the chitta is like that. Beautiful example given in the Bhagavad Gita. And traditionally, for the practice of the sadhakas, the practice of meditation is suggested beautifully. The traditional Vedantic interpretations and suggestions are beautiful by Adi Shankaracharya. When he talks about the dhyana, he says that vijatiya vritti rahitam sajatiya vritti pravaha rupa saguna brahma vishaya vyapara manaha it is. Nidhidyasa prashanta vahita manaha it is. Vijatiya vritti rahitam sajatiya vritti pravaham rupa saguna brahma vishaya vyapara manaha it is. Means vijatiya, unconnected. Vrittis, rahitam, not there. Unconnected vrittis are not there. Connected vrittis are flowing. Connected vritti means the only thought is flowing. And for the practice of dhyana, beautifully suggested, rupa, saguna, brahma, vishaya, vyaparaha it is called. That's why the meditation, practice of meditation on a saguna brahma, saguna rupa has been given. On an idol of Rama, Shiva, Krishna, Devi, Hanuman, various objects of meditation have been suggested and given by the tradition. And that is how the Yoga Shastra, Indian culture, and the entire gamut of sadhana helps us to focus the mind and take it into deeper layers. When we talk of dhyana, we should always remember the two important dimensions of the mind. One is the nama and the rupa, the name and the shape. Name and shape. Every shape has a name. Every name has a shape. When we hear a particular sound or a name, we get the shape of that in our mind. When we hear the sound, say lotus, immediately we get the idea of the shape of lotus in the mind. When we hear the sound Om, we get the shape of the Om in the mind. The sound and the shape, Nama and Rupa, are connected within it. And from the Rupa, there will be a Nama. From the Nama, the Rupa goes. The interconnectedness. But we should remember that. From the Saguna Brahma to the Rupa Rahita, Nama Rahita, the nameless and the shapeless. That is the real of ourself. The Chitta. When all the vrittis are out, and to get rid of the vrittis, Vijatiya vrittis are removed, and the flow of the Sajatiya vrittis slowly becomes Vritirahitam it is. And that is called as the Tatra Pratyayikatanata Dhyanam. We should always remember that Dhyanam is not just sitting and keeping your eyes closed or open. That is immaterial, of course. But what is happening to the mind? What is the status of the mind? What is the experience the mind is undergoing within inside? What are the transformations happening in the mind? That is more important in the dhyana. Where we do dhyana, how do we do dhyana, on what we do dhyana is immaterial. But what exactly happening to the state of the mind is most important and relevant. And what should happen? It should happen Pratyaya Ekatanata Dhyanam. On one single object in the thought, on one single idea, the mind should stabilize for a longer time. How long we can stabilize it? How long one particular idea, an object, fills our mind for a long time of duration? That is the crux and the measurement of the dhyana. Swami Vivekananda beautifully summarizes this particular sutra. I quote, "The mind tries to think of one object, to hold itself to one particular spot, as the top of the head, the heart, etc. And if the mind succeeds in receiving the sensations only through that part of the body, and through no other part, that would be dharana. And when the mind succeeds in keeping itself in that state for some time, it is called dhyana, meditation. And that is what is the important. Change was the Vijatiya vritti, not changing, same flow, Sajatiya vritti pravaha it is called. And that is why very important dimension of dhyana comes into our practice. It is very easy to judge ourselves. It is very easy to evaluate ourselves whether really we are in a state of meditation or some struggle goes on in the mind for half an hour or 45 minutes, and at the end we come out and say that I have done meditation. Plus, please remember, in meditation there is only and only one thought. If there was a second thought, it is not a meditation. And this is the ideal of the dhyana. That's why in the Bhagavatam it is said, Dhyanavasthita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yogino yasyantam na vidusra suraganaha, it is said. And that is the state of the mind, absorbed, filled with one particular thought. And after the dharana and dhyana, let us see the last anga of the ashtanga and the last of the antaranga, the samadhi, in the next sutra, the third one. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.